Good evening, everyone. My name is Anthony Grullon. Today, I'll present my literature review and research question on party competition and policy liberalism. This presentation summarizes the key themes, gaps, and implications in the literature, and concludes with a testable research question derived from these findings. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Starting with our introduction, this topic examines how inter-party competition shapes policy outcomes, both economic and social. It matters because competition is a cornerstone of democratic responsiveness, and understanding it helps us evaluate how political systems translate representation into policy outcomes. Now, for a brief overview of the presentation, my discussion will flow through these 4 topics shown here: common themes in the literature, gaps and weaknesses in current studies, implications for future research, and my proposed research question. Showing how the literature develops and where opportunities for deeper research exist. The first major theme is that inter-party competition strongly predicts economic policy liberalism. Bauman found that when parties must compete for broader electorates, they tend to adopt policies benefiting economically marginalized groups, validating Key and Schatzschneider's theories that competition strengthens democratic responsiveness. The second theme is the inconsistent relationship between competition and social policy liberalism. Social issues like civil rights or the right to terminate a pregnancy, for example, are shaped by cultural and moral divisions, making them less responsive to policy competition. These areas don't shift easily with electoral dynamics. The third theme is temporal and contextual variation. The effects of competition fluctuate with historical context, strong during periods of economic reform, and weak during polarization. Coddy and Warsaw's longitudinal dataset strengthens this conclusion by tracking state policy liberalism from 1936 to 2014. Now moving into our sets of gaps in the literature. Despite the strengths of the literature, a key weakness is mechanistic ambiguity. We know competition correlates with liberal policies, but the mechanisms, how legislative actions produce these changes, for example, remain unclear. Another issue is endogeneity. It's possible that liberal policies shape competition, not vice versa. Stronger causal methods like regression discontinuity or natural experiments could clarify the direction of influence. And lastly, the third major weakness is contextual dependence. Social and economic policies don't operate the same way across states or historic eras. Regional legacies like the South's political history, for example, moderate the effects of competition. Now moving into the implications for future research. These findings open up 3 areas for future research. Theoretically, models should account for issue types and moral context. Methodologically, integrating legislative and outcome data could clarify causal mechanisms. Substantively, studying how institutions shape competitive dynamics will improve our understanding of policy responsiveness. Now, moving into the theoretical foundations. Deborah Stone's causal storytelling framework explains why competition promotes economic but not social liberalism. Economic policies invite inclusive narratives, while social issues harden divides. Walleman's frameworks complements this by emphasizing clarity, rigor, and transparency in research design. Now, the following is my proposed research question. Controlling for public opinion and partisan control, will exogenous state-level inter-party competition induce rises in economic policy liberalism, but no significant changes in social policy liberalism over the following 4 years? This question is testable, falsifiable, and grounded in the literature. It extends Bauman's findings using causal storytelling theory to explore how competition drives specific policy domains differently. In conclusion, the literature clearly shows that political competition tends to liberalize economic policy, but struggles to do so for social policy. Addressing methodological and contextual gaps will deepen our grasp of how democracy translates competition into policy outcomes. And last but not least, my references. Thank you all so very much for your time.